Bobby Benzer, and I am representing the Children's and Teen Services Department here at Baker and Taylor today. You fondly know us as CATS, and welcome to our latest series of Title Talks. This time we're featuring highlights publishing to the children's and teen space from January through June 2022. We've invited our friends from various publishers to present their own lists. Each of them has chosen a category to focus on: board books and picture books, easy readers, beginner chapter and middle grade, and young adult. But they've also shared highlights with us beyond that, and we're creating a comprehensive selection list for each category, which will live on Title Source 360 in the Children's and Teen Selection List area and under the Title Talks header. There are many, many wonderful titles publishing this season that span multiple trends and covered within the titles here. Books about community, social emotional skills, funny story time reads, awesome graphic novels, books that emphasize diversity and inclusion, and much, much more. I hope you have fun and enjoy watching and learn a lot from it. Any questions or comments, you know where to reach us. Just a couple housekeeping items before we get started. CATS housekeeping items that I thought may be relevant to all of you watching. One, realizing it's the end of 2021, it's cold outside, but I'm already thinking summer, and I hope all of you are dreaming of warm and fun and reading under a shady tree as well. You might even be starting to plan your summer 2022 programs. If you are, please reach out to us. We have a lot of resources, a lot of activity kits, downloadables, et cetera, that might help you out. We also have a formalized program that offers libraries discounted paperbacks and board books to use as giveaways and prizes. And for the second year in a row now, we are also offering a series of live virtual author events for libraries and patrons to enjoy. They're absolutely free and open to you and your community. Last year we had a great series of authors. We had Victoria Jameson and John Gallagher. We had Nicola and David Yoon, and we're expecting a really great lineup that we're finalizing right now, and we'll have more information about in the new year. And then secondly, I'm really excited to announce, if you are a fan of our pre-bind program and have been ordering our pre-binds for a long time, you might be really excited to learn that we are going back to our original name, and we are rebranding under our Paw Prints brand, and that is coming back to the fold, to the marketplace in January 2022. So just a little bit of exciting news to close out the end of 2021. As always, we thank you for your partnership, your business, your kindness and friendship, and we also appreciate everything that you do for your community and your patrons. And with that, I really hope you enjoy this series of Title Talks. Any questions at all, reach out, cats@baker-taylor.com. Enjoy and happy reading.
With over 250 million books sold around the world in 79 editions and 65 languages, Wimpy Kid has turned millions of kids into readers. The series is one of the top 5 best-selling book series, adult and kids, of all time, and has been a fixture on the New York Times bestseller list for more than 785 weeks. In this latest edition, Diary of a Wimpy Kid Big Shot, Greg tries his hand at sports with hilarious and unintended consequences, of course. And now, for the first time ever, Greg's diary is coming to life in a full-color, 3D animated Disney Plus production. Whether you're meeting Greg for the first time or you're a lifelong fan, you'll love diving into the Wimpy Kid universe. And don't forget the hilarious and adventurous Rowley Jefferson's awesome Backlist series. Fall 2021 is officially the questionnaire season. Not only do we have a brand new questionnaire being introduced in a much anticipated new book, we recently announced that Ada Twist is making her debut on Netflix with an animated TV series from the creator of Doc McStuffins in a non-fiction series that is perfect for the youngest scientists of tomorrow. Ada Twist's Brainstorm Book is a collectible package filled with tons of colorful stickers from the new Netflix show, including stickers of Ada Twist, her friends, and some of her wackiest experiments. This book also includes fun facts for young scientists and 5 double-sided pull-out posters. Ada Twist's Y-Files is the perfect nonfiction resource for all of the questions that you could possibly have and more. Peek inside Ada Twist's personal notebook to discover everything there is to know about flight, from information about creatures that fly to the history of aircraft to modern technology that allows us to soar through the air faster than ever. Each book in the Y-Files will cover a different scientific topic addressed in the show. And of course, I am thrilled to be adding another questionnaire to our list, Aaron Slater. Aaron Slater has dyslexia, just like our series illustrator, David Roberts. Children need to see themselves reflected in stories, and many children will recognize themselves and their struggles mirrored in Aaron's story. Aaron's dyslexia informs who he is, but it does not define who he is. With this addition to the series, the questionnaires has now moved from STEM to STEAM, including the all-important A for art. Additionally, Aaron is named for Aaron Douglas, a black artist who is widely recognized as one of the most influential visual artists of the Harlem Renaissance. And don't forget the massive backlist of all the questionnaire titles. Rube Goldberg and His Amazing Machines is the hilarious first book in an all-new illustrated series starring young inventor Rube Goldberg. In this series, he hasn't quite become the genius we all know today. Best-selling children's book author Brandon T. Snyder touches on necessary subjects like anxiety, identity, bullying, and the amount of pressure that kids are under today. The series is fun with smart dialogue, ridiculous machines, and tons of the heart and friendship that we all know is present in Rube Goldberg. Next up, we have The Fabled Stables, Belly of the Beast. This series is a one-of-a-kind fantasy adventure from best-selling author Jonathan Auxier. These books are made for sharing and reading aloud, with full-color illustrations on every spread. As Kirkus notes in a starred review, this series has just the right amount of speed and cleverness for the audience. Camp Days is the latest entry in the Garbage Pail Kids series from best-selling author R.L. Stine. These books are gross and fun and great for both kids and adults who love Garbage Pail Kids. And of course, they're terrific for reluctant readers as well. These books are unique and appeal to fans both young and old. New readers are loving it for the funny and gross stories and, of course, characters. And as an added bonus, each book includes 4 exclusive bonus trading card stickers in the back. The 4th and final Ghoulia adventure is here. In this charming Tim Burton-inspired series, Ghoulia and her family hit the road for summer vacation. The dark and yet sweet illustrations are fanciful and enchanting, with tons of witty details that keep readers glued to the page. Just like in the first 3 books, Ghoulia and the Doomed Manor will have bonus activities, including a recipe for the back-to-life potion, which is mint lemonade for the not undead amongst us, and an activity that features drawing and decorating your own haunted house. And we also have the 3rd and final book in the Alien Superstar series. This series is a New York Times bestseller and is great for emerging readers, featuring plenty of jokes and action and copious illustrations from Ethan Nicolle. They're also filled with Lynn and Henry's decades of showbiz insider knowledge, which gives them a feel of authenticity, even though Buddy is so out of this world. And now we're introducing Class Critters, a humorous and heartfelt new chapter book series about a second grade class where each kid turns into an animal for a day. The first book stars Tally Tuttle, an imaginative but shy girl who just moved to a new town and is nervous about coming out of her shell. And then she turns into a turtle. In each book, a different kid will transform into a different animal. Each kid will also learn a bit of natural science about their animal, and the back matter will include 10 fun facts about that animal. Stories about classrooms are very popular, as are chapter books about animals, and this series combines the two topics and offers a fresh, magical twist. And these books are heavily illustrated with an illustration on almost every spread. We'll also be following up with David Dixon's Day as a Dachshund in the spring. First Names is a highly illustrated nonfiction series that puts the reader on a first-name basis with some of the most incredible people in history and of today. We've so far published 7 titles, and the 8th book in the series is going to be about Greta Thunberg. Before she was a well-known environmental activist, Greta was just a girl living in Stockholm, Sweden. She first heard about climate change when she was only 8 years old, and she couldn't understand why no one seemed to be doing anything about it. When she was 15 years old, she began spending her days outside the Swedish parliament to call for action on climate change. Soon, other students began to follow Greta's lead and participate in similar protests, and together these kids organized the Fridays for Future Climate Strike movement. Today, Greta continues to fight for climate change and continues to prove that you're never too young to make a difference. Like the other First Names books noted here, it's lively, full of facts, and will have a mix of text, spot illustrations, and mini side comics that shed light on Greta's story.
I am just as giddy as can be. I hope you've enjoyed our book talk so far today. And now we all have the pleasure of hearing from the one and great Tom Angleberger. Hi, Tom. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Great. Just hanging out virtually with our librarian friends here across the country, and we're all very excited to hear you talk about your work, your career, your humor, and your brand new series, DJ Funkyfoot. But first, if you don't mind, I'm just going to do a formal introduction. Tom Angleberger is the New York Times bestselling author of the Origami Yoda series, as well as many other books for kids. Yes, a favorite of my nephew and mine as well. He created DJ Funkyfoot, a Chihuahua butler with his wife, Cece Bell, another great, for the Inspector Flytrap series. And in real life, Tom and Cece do have a Chihuahua, but he's more of a biter than a butler.
Yeah.
And you can visit Tom at origamiyoda.com. And I should also mention Tom is going to also do a really cool drawing tutorial for us for a couple characters in this series that you can then share with the kiddos at your library. So I'm going to turn things over to you, Tom. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Thank you so much. Man, I am so excited to talk to librarians again. I used to talk to librarians all the time, and now I don't get to talk to librarians ever. So I'm really happy for this opportunity. I'm so glad to talk to you guys again. Let me see if I can get my thing up right here. There we go. So let me tell you a little bit about what I've been up to since the last time I got to talk to you librarians. I've had a lot of books come out. It's been a lot of fun. We've had some good stuff. We've got, it seems like just yesterday, the Dee Dee Dodo books came out. In fact, that was the last time I did get to go out in public and talk to people, was when the Dee Dee Dodo series was coming out. And of course, those are all part of the Inspector Flytrap universe, along with DJ Funkyfoot. But I've also been exploring some other universes. One of them that I got to explore, and I still can't believe I got to do it, was the Mickey Mouse verse with my Doorways to Danger graphic novel. That was a blast getting to be part of the Donald Duck world. And Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse, there's so much fun. I had a wild time doing this. And then the artist, Jeff Harvey, really knocked the artwork out. It's very modern take on the classic characters. So that was fun. And then I got to take on another classic character, but this time the story was already written and I got to adapt and draw it into a graphic novel. And that was, of course, Geronimo Stilton, another famous mouse. He was a lot of fun. I've done 4 of those Geronimo Stilton graphic novels. So I've been very busy while I haven't been out meeting librarians. I've put my time to good use. I did 4 of those graphic novels. But what I want to talk to you guys about today is not a famous mouse, but a famous dog. Well, he's not quite famous, and that's the problem. See, when DJ Funkyfoot was born, where's DJ Funkyfoot at? You need to see what he looks like. There's what he looks like. There's little DJ Funkyfoot. When he was born, his parents dreamed that someday he would grow up to be a famous hip hop star. So they named him DJ Funkyfoot, middle name MC, just in case he decided to become an MC instead of a DJ. But instead of being an MC or a DJ, he decided he wanted to be a butler. That's all he really wants, is to be a butler and do butler things. And unfortunately, he never gets the chance. And why doesn't he get a chance? Well, because I send him on all kinds of crazy adventures instead. And I've had a ball coming up with crazy adventures that Heather Fox, the great artist, she's so great with those llama books of hers, where she took this on. And so whatever crazy adventure I send DJ Funkyfoot on, he has to draw it. And so, if I say like, oh, there's a TV game show host who's a moose, she has to draw that. And then if, let's say DJ Funkyfoot and a baby shrub goes sliding down a banister to get away from a walrus, well, she has to draw that. And we have a lot of fun. Well, at least I have a lot of fun coming up with crazy adventures for DJ Funkyfoot. In this first book, DJ Funkyfoot, his client, if you want to call it that, his client is a baby shrub named Shrubbaby. And Shrubbaby looks really cute. And Heather Fox is great at making her cute, but she's also an agent of chaos. And Heather Fox is great at building up from cuteness to chaos. So we had a great time with that book. That was a lot of fun. And so then I've got another one around here somewhere, I think. What happened to the next one? There's another book in the series. There's a brand new one in the series. Where did it go?
I have the cover. I have the cover.
Oh, you've got a picture of it. It's DJ Funkyfoot, Give Cheese a Chance. That's right. How on earth did I lose my brand new book? I'm so sorry. I'm looking around for it. Oh man, maybe our actual Chihuahua took it.
Right.
So in DJ Funkyfoot, Give Cheese a Chance, we bring back one of the classic characters from the Inspector Flytrap series, and that's President Horse. President Horse is a horse, and he's the president, and he's a very bad president. And I just made up what I thought would be the worst possible president we could have. And so in the first book, in the Inspector Flytrap book, Horse G. Horse causes a lot of trouble for Inspector Flytrap. But in this book, he causes even more trouble for DJ Funkyfoot, because DJ Funkyfoot has been hired to be the butler for the worst president of all time. And the worst president of all time doesn't want to do the president stuff. He only wants to play miniature golf. And so this crazy thing happens, and I decided to try to give Heather Fox the craziest challenges that I could come up with, and send Inspector Flytrap, I'm sorry, to send DJ Funkyfoot and President Horse to the weirdest miniature golf course I could think of. And they've got to finish the golf course in time to sign a peace treaty to make world peace. So it's a crazy story. I have so much fun coming up with stuff in this Inspector Flytrap universe. There's 9 of these books now. One more still hasn't come out yet. That'll come out this March. I believe it's this coming spring, definitely this coming spring. It's called The Show Must Go Oink. And in that one, DJ Funkyfoot has to take care of a very picky pig who's also an opera star. So as you can see, the books are just a lot of silly business. These are not books for somebody who wants to learn lessons or somebody that wants to walk away with a tear in their eye. These are just books for kids that are just looking for absolute silly fun. I feel like my job here is to get a kid to want to read the next page of the book. And maybe they're not a great reader yet. Maybe they're just learning how to read. And it's going to encourage them to turn that page and figure out what those words mean, because they want to figure out what happens next. And so I feel like that's just my job, is to get kids to turn the next page. And I know that they are going to turn the page to see Heather Fox's great drawings. So all I have to do is give her some crazy things to draw, and we're in business.
That's awesome. And I think you're going to do your own version of these characters. Right?
Well, that's right. I am. Now, the first one for DJ Funkyfoot, I had to ask Heather to teach me how to draw her version of DJ Funkyfoot. So I think I know that well enough now that I can teach you, so you guys can teach kids how to draw them. We'll see.
You can certainly put your own spin on it.
I tell you, DJ Funkyfoot is so much fun, and Heather has a great time with him. I think I can show you how to draw him, because he's actually pretty simple.
And did she do what you thought in your head, Tom, when you were creating DJ Funkyfoot? Did she bring to life that exact vision, or?
Well, not exactly, because she made him cuter than I could possibly have imagined. I thought he was cute, but Heather turned the cuteness up. That's what she's really good at, turning the cuteness up, but then being tricky with it and being silly with it, and letting things go crazy and chaotic, so that the cuteness almost disappears. But no matter what happens, DJ Funkyfoot will always be a great butler, and he will always be a very cute Chihuahua. So let me show you here what Heather taught me about how to draw this dog. So first, let's take another look at him. Okay, there he goes. He's very nice little Chihuahua there. So you'll notice he's basically, he's got huge eyeballs. So you draw one big eyeball, and then you draw another circle inside of it for his eye. All right, there we go. And then he's got a little dog nose. And you might think a dog nose would be hard to draw, but it's basically just a U that's sort of on its side. It comes like that. And one end of it is a nose. And he's got a couple little whisker dots here. And then this is his mouth here. So go ahead and give him a little smile. And Heather doesn't always do this, but I think it's okay if you want to give him a little tooth sticking out, because my Chihuahua, like I said, he's a biter. So he's definitely armed and dangerous. Okay, so now you're ready to draw the second eyeball, which is just going to go here. And the reason we drew the nose first is because the second eyeball is just a little bit behind that nose. So draw like that. Okay, and then his head is going to come up this way, and he's got a little hairy, so get a little scribbly up at the top, and then bring it around like this. Give him a little neck, and connect that there. And of course, he's going to have a bow tie, and a bow tie is just a circle with triangles on it. That's all that you need for the bow tie. And then up at the top here, you have one triangle and another triangle, and triangles inside those triangles. All right, now you'll notice that my Chihuahua is a lot goofier looking than Heather's Chihuahua. I've never figured out how to draw them exactly perfect, but that's okay. When you're drawing Tom Angleberger style, nothing is ever exactly perfect. So it's okay if he looks a little goofy. This is like later in the book when he's been through a lot of crazy stuff and he's just trying to keep a handle on it.
It's
one of the
wacky.
great things about DJ Funkyfoot is he wants to be the perfect butler, but he finds it's not always easy to keep your cool. So there's DJ Funkyfoot. He's pretty easy to draw. Well, not easy to draw. Easy to draw like this. A little hard to draw it perfectly like Heather does. But that's something I want to talk to you guys about. You can make your own character like DJ Funkyfoot. And this is a great exercise that you can get the kids to do. Ask them what their favorite animal is. And almost every kid can draw their favorite animal. And if they can't, you can give them a little assistance on that. So you find out what their favorite animal is, and then find out what it would be the worst job that they don't want to have. Like a lot of kids might think garbage collector would be a job they don't want to have. But a job I would hate to have myself, I wouldn't mind collecting garbage. I think that'd be pretty interesting. But I would hate to be a chef. A lot of people want to be a chef. But when I try to cook or something, everything always goes wrong. So for me, a bad job would be to be a chef. But my favorite animal is a snail. And the job I would hate to have is a chef. So I draw a snail. And then I'm going to give, let's see here. I'm going to make these little eyes. And since he's doing a job he doesn't like, instead of a smile, I'm going to make him like he's panicking. And then I just give him a little chef's hat. So there's a chance you could ask kids, what does your character have based on the job they have? If he was a cowboy, you'd have a cowboy hat. If he was a, what else could he be? A snail could be, well, what is another bad job? What job would you not want to have?
That's a good question. Probably a teacher, because I don't think they're respected half as much as they should be.
Being a teacher is a hard job.
It's a hard job.
I was a substitute teacher for 3 days and I got run out of town. And so yeah, being a teacher is a very hard job.
Not because they don't love the kids, but because they're, they need more respect than they get.
Yeah, exactly. So you just, you get a kid to draw their animal and then draw the job that goes on it. And then this character could be in DJ Funkyfoot's story because he's an animal or a plant with a job, a person type job. And normally they have clothes on in my universe. So what kind of clothes would he have? He'd have a little chef's uniform here. You don't necessarily have to figure out exactly how it works with the shell, or if it's an animal with a tail. You don't exactly have to figure all that out. But that's just a fun way of getting kids to think about what character they would add to my Flytrap universe. And a kid can come up with absolutely anything, and you can continue ask them a few questions to get them to add stuff to your story. For instance, a chef needs to be able to get back and forth to the restaurant to cook meals for people. But how does the chef get there if he's a snail? Because a snail is so slow, by the time he got to the restaurant would be closed. So you ask the kid that, and the kid, of course, is going to tell you that he needs a Lamborghini. So then you have the kid draw a Lamborghini for the chef to get around.
You must work at an expensive restaurant.
Yes, it's a very expensive restaurant. In fact, let's draw the restaurant back here. It's what would make it look expensive? Maybe a big $sign on top. Now, the fun thing about this kind of exercise is each kid can draw individually, or you can have a flip chart up at the front of the room and have every kid come up and add one detail at a time to it. So actually, I found that kids love that. And especially if I start the drawing, they really love messing up my drawing. So anyway, there's a fun little exercise you can do. And here's one more. For a kid that is a little unsure about how to get started drawing, I've come up with a system that I call the nose system of drawing. And so this is a fun exercise. You can get a kid to do this. And I've gotten a lot of kids to do it on the spur of the moment. I didn't give them any preparation, and they've ended up being extremely successful with it. It's called the nose method of drawing. And all they have to do, they don't have to know how to draw their animal yet. They just need to know how to draw a nose. And everybody needs to know how to draw. I mean, everybody already knows how to draw a nose. It's just like that. And then there's a nostril. Everybody can draw a nose. Nobody can't draw a nose. Everybody can draw a nose. So you get the kid to draw the nose, because a lot of kids think they can't draw. So you convince them they can draw a nose. You get them to draw the nose, and then you tell them it's time to turn that nose into an animal. So to prove that the nose method works, I'm going to show you how to turn this nose into President Horse from the DJ Funkyfoot book. Do you believe I can do it? Do you think I can do it? Or is this me just boasting and then
I sure can.
Drawing myself into a curve?
If you can make a snail look cute, then you can do that.
All right, let's see what we can do. First thing we're going to do is decide whether we want to draw it right side up, on its side, or upside down. And I think that in this case, I'm going to start with it upside down. But depending on the animal and depending on the artist, they're going to look at it and they're going to hopefully see a way to turn the nose into the animal. And it almost always works. Here's how to turn an upside down nose into President Horse G. Horse. First of all, this nostril is going to become his tongue. And this is going to become his mouth. And then you're going to draw a nose. And then that's going to come up like this. You're going to draw an ear, another ear, and this is going to come down like this. And then you draw his mane on there. And then you draw one big eyeball and another big eyeball, two nostrils. We've already got the mouth taken care of. Does it look like a horse yet?
He looks like he does not know how to mini golf. That's for sure. He looks.
I forgot that he'd be mini golfing, so I'm going to draw a hoof. And a hoof is just a line. And then the same line goes back again. And then you draw a big blob at the end of it. And then the blob is the hoof. And then the hoof is holding a golf club. The great thing about hooves is they're easier to draw than hands. So the only thing I need to do here is give him a tie. And a tie is pretty easy to draw. And just put some size down there like that. It's President Horse G. Horse, the president of the fly trap of the United States of Fly Trap. I'm still not sure what we call that country. But this same gag will work for just about any animal. You can experiment with it, or you can just have the kids figure it out. The kids always figure it out. Their imagination is limitless. You just have to get them started. And that's why I came up with the nose trick. It's just a way to get kids started. That blank page stops so many kids from letting their imagination out. So you can draw the nose for them, or you can let them draw the nose and then turn them loose on it. They will turn it into something great.
That is pretty cool. I never would have thought to do that. Now you got a chance to talk a little bit. Thank you for doing that, by the way. That was really cool. You got a chance to talk a little bit about how your books, especially, not especially, but all your books, and it's no difference with the series, it's just fun. They're just fun kids who just want to have fun reading. If you want to get kids reading, just for the sake of enjoying it, your books are for them. Do you have any advice for your readers about writing, if they're interested in doing what you do when they grow up? I bet they would love to hear.
I sure do. I sure do. In fact, I can tell you a little story that talks both about, to me, the importance of reading for fun and how I got started drawing. So when I was in the fourth grade was a very, very difficult year for me. We don't need to go into all the details now, and some of them I'm not allowed to talk about. The principal said I could never. No, I'm just kidding. But the principal may have been involved in some of them. It was a tough year for me. But one good thing came out of that year. My reading teacher had on her bookshelf these crazy books that would come from Scholastic and some of the other services. And they were these silly outer space jokes books. I've got a whole bunch of them here. This one's called 101 Outer Space Jokes. And this one is called Star Jaws. And it was a mashup of Star Wars and the movie Jaws. And I got something out of these books, even then I knew they were silly and ridiculous and kind of dumb. They were what I needed at that time. I needed something like this to escape into. And I had so much fun with these, and they were just that right thing that made me think, not only do I enjoy reading these, but I want to start drawing some of these pictures. And the pictures are just silly robots and space monsters. Let's see here. I'm trying to find a good space monster. Just the silliest possible space monsters and stuff. So I started drawing obsessively. I started drawing something called giant space amoebas. And I still haven't figured out if I made it up or if I got it from one of these books. But the great thing about a giant space amoeba is you can't draw it wrong. However you draw it, that's what it looks like, because amoebas can be any shape. And in outer space, they're real big. And so you just draw these little parts in them, and you draw a few extra little blobs in them. And there you go, you've done it. And then you can color it in. I spent so much time drawing those giant space amoebas. I just drew them and drew them and drew them. And then eventually I started drawing stuff that had my own little stories to go with it. And cartoons that were absolutely as silly as these cartoons. And I just had fun. None of this stuff was for teachers to read. It was for me to read, or for my friends to read, if I could convince them to read it. I'm not sure my friends thought it was as funny as I did. But that's how I got started. I got started just from a place of needing to find something else other than reality. And what I found was silly cartoons, and that just grew and grew and grew, and I never stopped doing it. And after a while, I finally found somebody who was willing to print some of them in a book, and that's how I became an author. And some people think authors are like, William Shakespeare and they're geniuses or something like that. Well, maybe some of them are, but not me. I'm just a guy who started drawing giant space amoebas and never stopped. And that's how I became an author. And there's no reason that anybody can't tell their own stories, draw their own pictures. There's nothing to stop you. As long as you can find a piece of scrap paper and a pen, there's nothing to stop you, and you don't have to ask anybody's permission, and you don't have to worry about what grade you're going to get. You can just do it for fun and to tell your story and to just let your imagination run wild. And so I'm always telling kids, man, go ahead, go for it. You don't have to ask anybody's permission. You can go ahead and get started right now. You don't even have to wait for the fourth grade. If you're not a fourth grader yet, you can start today.
I like that. There's no grade. And I love how it's come full circle, because I'm sure there are many kids that are escaping their reality and going to their favorite place, the library, and they're finding your books there, and it's inspiring them. So thanks for that message for them. And I think that's about wrapping it up. But before we end things, is there a special message you'd like to give to our librarians watching out there?
Oh, I just love librarians so much. The next part of that story was about how I went from this to Pinkwater books and Lloyd Alexander books and Beverly Cleary books because of librarians making sure they were there for me to find. And I don't think I could have made it without librarians. Kids take it for granted that those books are on the shelf. And I tried to put that into one of the Origami Yoda books. The kids just take it for granted that the librarian has put their favorite books on the shelf. But that didn't just happen. It's up to you guys, the librarians, to make sure those books are there for the kids to find, because some of those books save lives. And you gotta, you put them out there and the kids find them, and they may not even tell you. They may not even realize it until they're, you know, an old guy like I am. But those books matter and they change lives. And I thank you so much for making sure they're out there on the shelves for me and for today's kids.
Right on. So before we end things, I just want to thank you and remind the public librarians tuning in that the second book in the series is DJ Funkyfoot, Give Peas a Chance. Give cheese a chance, rather. I always think of that pun, give peas a chance, and it is hilarious. Now, before we go, what is your favorite adventure that they go on in this book?
Oh man, there's a crazy scene where the I hate to spoil it, but well, there's so many crazy scenes on the miniature golf course, but you know how a lot of miniature golf courses have volcanoes? Well, this one has a cheese volcano, and someone may or may not end up falling in the cheese volcano.
Guess you'll just have to read it to find out.
Yeah, I won't spoil it. I won't tell you who falls in the cheese volcano.
So, and then the third one is out in March, and it is available to pre-order on Title Source 360, the Baker and Taylor ordering platform. You have been generous enough, Tom, to offer a virtual author visit to a public library, a date to be determined. So for those viewing in, if you want to write me and share your favorite scene from the new DJ Funkyfoot book, the second one, Give Cheese a Chance, I will happily put your name into a hat and draw a name out before the holidays start, sometime in December, probably mid-December. So I'll give you guys about a month to enter this, and I'll write you and hook you up with Tom, and maybe he can do the whole nose activity with the kids.
That would be fun. I would love to bring the nose technique to your library.
What a sentence. I never thought I'd hear, but I love it all the same. So for those of you out there, my email is bobby.benzer. So that's BOBBIE .benzer, BENSUR at baker-taylor.com. Bobby.benzer at baker-taylor.com. I'll make sure that it is in the email that you're all receiving to see this video. And then of course you can go on our website, cats.baker-taylor.com, which I'm sure many of you already have bookmarked, and refer to often to get my email as well. So again, bobby.benzer at baker-taylor.com for your opportunity to win a visit with Tom for your library and your young patrons. Tom, thank you so much for coming today and sharing your experiences and your work and your skill with us. And I hope you enjoy your fall. Thanks
well,
so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.